Okay, hi everybody. It's Veronica, and so we're coming to you via all this technical stuff to Suzanne, who's in England. So I'm hoping that the message is clear because that's why I'm wearing headphones. There appears to be a little distortion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce Suzanne. I'll tell you a little bit about her first. And we'll have a few minutes afterwards where I could then speak to you, and it'll go on to the regular stream. So hopefully we can get through this and it'll work fantastic. So I'm going to introduce Suzanne Edgington. And Suzanne is a holistic therapist for 25 years in England and 25 years on her own spiritual journey. She is a naturopath, bodywork, and craniosacral therapist. Her work combines the spiritual, who we know ourselves to be on a soul level, and her own experiences with death and loss. Suzanne supports the normalization of this part of life in a positive way and encourages embracing the gifts in these experiences so we can live more from the magical truth of who we really are. All right, that was lovely. Okay, so Suzanne, with all of that, energetically, I think it's pushing you into the United States airwaves. So if anybody is here, are you hearing the feedback? And I don't know if I'm going to get your comments, but but Amanda will probably get them. Can you see any feedback or any comments, Amanda? All right, I think we'll just go ahead. So, Suzanne, how are you today?
I'm good, but having my own interesting process because you never know when they're going to pop up, do you? But thank you so much for having me on. I'm really, really chuffed to be here. Thank you.
I'm thrilled to have you here, and I'm very excited to have you. When I first spoke with you, I was very impressed by your own healing and spiritual journey. And I really felt it would be important for the listeners to hear your story a little bit and to know more about your healing journey so far. Because we're always healing anyway.
Constantly. So where would you like me to start?
Well, how did you get into this whole bundle of spirituality and how it brought you into this healing space?
That's a good question. For me, I think spirituality was kind of introduced to me really in my early 20s. So when I was a student at drama college, someone shoved an Edgar Cayce book at me. And I started from there, started reading, and just slowly over time, it just kind of resonated with me. And I just always felt this magical place within me that I wanted to share. And the death side of it actually started before that when I was a child. I think I was probably around 10 when I just started having panic attacks at night before I'd go to sleep. I'd just be drifting off to sleep. And then, don't ask me why, I'd start thinking about dying. And it terrified me, and I'd have a panic attack. And at such a young age, I was like, I want to talk about this. I want to, what's going on? How can I, get over this? What's happened? But everyone's like, no, you're too young. You can't be thinking about things like that. So it was really difficult to find anyone to talk to about it. So it took me a long time, and it stayed with me. So I went through drama college. started my spiritual journey, which probably started way before that, really. Had my own life experiences, then was an actress for about 7 or 8 years, and then I came into a world of holistic therapy, and started to work with people like that, and it just got bigger and bigger as a question, talking about it and wanting to talk about it, really.
So, you and I have sort of a similar path, because I studied at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York, and I was involved with acting and theater for a few years until I had experienced the death of my 2 brothers. So I am wondering how the impact of your first loss, how that impacted the trajectory of your life, or did it?
Well, this is one of the interesting things, because I had that feeling from such a young age of this fear, and I'd learned from a young age about walking towards fear as a way of overcoming, of a way of being empowered. But death really wasn't something I could practice.
Right.
And I hadn't had any losses at that point. I mean, I'd had friends, maybe acquaintances or teachers that had maybe died, but no one that had really impacted on my life. So I couldn't understand it. And then also having spiritual experiences at the same time, I was like, well, if I'm a spiritual person, why am I so afraid? So it wasn't until my father died, which was my first experience, which was about 11 years ago now. So not that long ago, really, that I had my first real encounter of being with someone as they were dying, someone that I adored, someone. I was a daddy's girl. We never argued. We never had a crossword. And he had that fear as well. So it was an interesting experience. But that first experience, I walked away from it happy. And I don't mean, as I said to you when we spoke, I don't mean just happy, I'm pleased he's not suffering anymore. I mean, like, I wanted to party. It was as if, I went home, I saw my husband, and I said, I'm really happy, crying. I'm really happy. And he said, that's great. I said, no, you don't understand. I'm like really happy. And it stayed with me for like at least 3 years, that really strong, and I'm not saying I didn't cry, and I'm not saying I didn't miss him, and I'm not saying that, there's so many things about my father that I still talk about to this day. But we didn't have a crossword, and I just loved him so much, and I just was left with this joy. So then, about 6 years ago, my husband died, and it was a completely different experience. I thought I knew what was coming because I'd had friends whose partners and husbands had died fairly recently.
Can I ask you something? Were either one of these deaths sudden deaths by any chance? Were they sudden?
It depends what you class as sudden. So they weren't sudden as in here today, gone tomorrow.
Right.
My father's was a fairly slow, over a few years.
Okay.
But my husband's, he was ill for a total of 2 years because he had cancer. He had throat cancer, and he was on a curative pathway. So then he got secondary cancer in his lungs, and then it was pretty quick. It was pretty quick from that point. It was, they term it as pretty quick. It was sort of 6 months. And he was still completely cognitive on the day he died. This was a strong, virile man who, it was his body that was giving up. Not giving up. It was his body that was choosing to finish here, So he was completely with it. So from that point of view, they term that as pretty quick. I mean, when you're in the experience, you're not really thinking about in terms of is it quick or is it slow. But the impact of his death will always be with me and cut so deep, so deep. Crying solidly for 2 years every day. That's why I've got bags under me. But but still through
So
that.
let me just say that I think that was, that's a long process, and it's such diametrically opposed to the feeling that you had when your father died.
Completely. I was like, oh my God, I'm a therapist. I've met people whose partners have died, whose children have died, people who have lost people overnight. I have a really close friend whose husband died 18 months previous to mine. And so I thought I had a sense of what I was going to experience, but every death is different. Every situation is different, and every relationship is different. I know people whose fathers have died and they didn't care less because they didn't have that relationship. So for me, my understanding of the whole topic and subject has blossomed and grown out of my experiences because people started to talk to me.
Right.
And so for me, it's more about the relationship, and completely different experiences. And it's not like you have control over what comes. You just have some sense of control. Control's probably not even the right word, but you have some element of how you choose to react. There's certain things that go on in the body and certain things that went on in my body that I didn't have control over.
Would you
how
talk
I choose to react to it.
So it sounds to me like what you're saying is that you allowed yourself to have whatever feelings that were coming up, and that did you sense there was something going on with your body too at the same time, or was that part of what you did to help yourself heal?
No, 100%. I think the key thing is, especially with what I'm working with now, which is really looking at the gifts and the joy that you can get from these experiences. I was very aware of it was painful. And I allowed myself to cry whenever I wanted to cry. I allowed myself to be okay when I wanted to be okay. I noticed traps which is another one I mentioned to you, of when I was feeling about a month after my husband's death, I was walking in my village and I thought, I feel okay today, just okay. And someone I hadn't seen for a while, hadn't seen since the funeral, came up and said, hi, how are you doing? And I felt myself go, oh well, okay, to suit them, instead of going, well, actually, I'm having quite a good day today, I'm okay. Because it can change at the drop of a hat. It's like someone described it as waves, like the sea. And it just, sometimes you get loads, and then sometimes you get just a couple going in and out. And I see grief like a bag as well, we each get given a bag and you can dip in and out of it whenever you want, but we all get a bag.
Yes, absolutely.
So, but these physical things all went on, emotional things all went on, and I hadn't control over those. I just had to sit with them as best I could, and I did find a really special place inside that was so magical. I knew it was going to disappear once.
Well, what would you say that magical place was? What was it?
For me, as my understanding of it grew, it was like being pushed into dynamic stillness. So for me, it was like really feeling that true place of yourself, because there was nothing there, but it felt safe and it felt like the place. It was like a magical space, and it was quite small at the time. It was like a little nugget, and but it was a magical, because your body can feel, for some, numb, paralyzed, and you feel like you're just a walking zombie. So this place, I could sit in this place. I was pushed to sit in this place. And when I chose to do that, when I did that, everything just happened around me, but in a much more magical way. So the first time I discovered it was the day after my husband died, and I went down the local pub just for a couple of hours and just sat and thought, oh my God, I've got to, because I had 400 or 500 people coming to this funeral. I thought, oh my God, how am I going to, it's like an event. I've got to arrange a fiesta. How am I going to do that when I feel so crap? So, but I sat there on this stool, I remember so well, and just in this place, and everything I needed walked through the door. So in the space of about 3 hours, 90% of the funeral had been arranged, because people would walk in and go, I'll do that for you. Yeah, that'll do. What about this? I'll do that. And it just happened. So that water off a duck's back kind of feeling became a positive, rather than I'm crippled by this numbness.
Well, you were really surrounded by very loving, wonderful people. And I'm thinking that you and your husband had cultivated this, correct?
Yeah, probably he'd cultivated it more than me, to be fair.
Really?
He was way more outgoing and chatty than I was. Yeah, but people were they just noticed. And there were times where, but that changes too, because for me, people are very willing to help you. And sometimes, especially in the first year, it's good to have that. And sometimes you have days where you think, I don't want to see anybody. And then after that, it's as if people drop away. It's like socially, I'm going to drop away. She's all right now. It's been a year. But it doesn't change for you. It goes on and on and on.
Right.
So there's so many layers to it, and so many evolving things that happen. But I'm very aware of that.
I know that I found that it's a lot, a lot of people have this because of the way death is portrayed as very sterile, and people want to move away from that feeling. But I found many didn't want to even talk about it or bring it up because they thought it was going to be sad for me. But in reality, I think it's that they couldn't deal with the feelings of whatever they thought it might happen to me, whether I cry or whether I would talk about it and they wouldn't know what to say. But I'm taking this into just a little bit of a different place for a moment, Suzanne. But I found what was really important for me is to realize that memory, that love was with me forever. And I needed people to know that I wanted to remember this person. And talking about them was actually very loving. It's a gift to be able to have people allow you to do that. So did you find that was true?
Oh, I can't even tell you 100% how true that is for me. And also fairly recently, I went to see a client. Her husband died 2 years ago. And she was looking really low and really sad. And people were saying to her, well, are you still feeling this? Shouldn't you be moving forward a bit now, or moving on, as they say, which is an awful term. And I said to her, but, we started talking about his memory and her husband, and she lit up like a Christmas tree. And I'm like, how can you deny someone this? This is healing. This is loving. She wants to talk, and people are shutting her down.
Right.
And I even said to her, look at you now. In the space of 5 minutes, like talking to two different people. She lit up like a Christmas tree, because the pain also comes with the memory. And then you do move slowly over time, whatever length of time that is for you. And that's different for everybody. You move into the memories and putting that in a different part of yourself. The
Suzanne,
memories are there.
So that brings tears to my eyes, because I think a part of me is feeling that, no matter where, like I just got through saying, no matter when, it could be that it happened 20 years ago. That piece that is still with you of the love and the recognition to want to always remember them, it still remains. And sometimes it's more triggered than others, like I think the holidays, but it can happen anytime. So you were actually a catapult for this person to be able to feel. She must have felt a tremendous sense of freedom a lot from you.
I could feel it for her, you know. It was just like she'd gone to, you know,
right.
She could breathe. She looked like she could breathe. She had colour in her face, you know. And it's just reminded me, actually, of another client I have. He was a widow. His wife committed suicide many years ago. And he had a friend of the family. Her husband died. And then over time, they got together and married and were together for 25 years.
Aww.
A couple of years ago, she died, and he's still my client. So I knew them both. And I remember having a conversation with them two very early after my husband died. And I said, how do you do it? And they said, what do you mean? Well, how have you also gone from both having your partners die and then finding a new relationship? And it's because they could talk about their old relationships and bring that part of themselves. They are who they are. We are who we are because of the people that have gone. So why would you want to forget them? Why would you not want to talk about them? They're what make you who you are today. They're part of you. They're part of your personality. And they were telling me they didn't know how it worked, but part of their relationship was because they had an understanding of being able to still talk about that part of their life. And yeah, it's important. It's really important.
Well, you know, I say that really it's relationships that heal. It's relationships that wound us, but ultimately it's the relationships that heal us. And, you know, we cannot feel that, well, we can feel anything, but we cannot feel that grief or mourning has to end at a certain period in time, because it can continue for the rest of your life in different ways. But I do think we get to a point where if we're consciously aware of it and we're talking about it and we're not just stuffing it down, or I know in particular, I'm thinking of someone that was, she was really told and convinced that she needed to have a pharmaceutical to be able to calm her down because she was so sad from the death of her husband. And subsequently, she didn't take it, because I really feel like that people need to go through that process. They need to feel that. Otherwise, it becomes a stuck grief. And it doesn't get worked through on any level. You can't get to that place where you could feel that there is transformation. Do you agree with that, Susanna? Do you have thoughts about that?
Yeah, I do. No, I do think to encourage people to be, this is what I mean about normalizing it, about talking about it, about knowing that you're not the only one that spends the night on the floor crying your eyes out for hours. You're not the only one who has thoughts of what is the point of going on? I don't want to be here anymore. Where's my joy gone? So death for me is about change. You know, as human beings, we're not good with change. We're not good with any kind of change. It brings up fear. It brings up anxiety. And the death of a person, because there's lots of different types of death. We've talked about that before. But the death of a person is the ultimate. You know, it's something, I don't get it. We've all got this in common, but we don't talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that unites every single being on the planet, and we don't talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's part of life. And so I encourage people to be with that. And the more you talk about it, you understand that the pain that you may be experiencing is normal. But at the same time, I do strongly, deeply believe that I went through that experience to tell people that it doesn't have to be quite this painful. There's something about it. I needed to do it, but I believe that eventually we will evolve enough spiritually enough, be ourselves authentically enough to feel more that connection and understand then that the body goes, but we still go on, because we know that on some level.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes that conflict easier.
So there is a strong spiritual element here, right?
100%, and I'm still working through that for myself.
Mm-hmm.
100%. I've been nudged on it again today. And I mean, there's a lot of cultures out there that do celebrate life, that celebrate death, and really party it, you know. And we celebrate coming into the world so well, but we don't really, you know, cheer someone on when they go. And, you know, I wonder whether it should be a little bit more of a, you know, a celebration sometimes. And I know that's really hard, because when we don't get to choose when someone goes, accident, car crash, you know, young, old, we don't get that choice. Mm-hmm. But we do get a choice to how we choose to respond to it.
Well, one of the things I think that I was blessed to experience, and it began probably maybe 19 years ago. My daughter was very young then, and she went to school with a girl that was killed suddenly in a car crash, and her brother was driving, and it was a horrible accident. And we attended the service, and they had it at their home. And they actually had it the way they do it, well, the way they did it, like my grandparents would have done, my great-grandparents. And they had her in the parlor, or what we called the parlor, the living room. And then they buried her on their property, and there were hundreds of people that came. And subsequently, I have been to probably 3 other memorial services where music, stories, and loving expressions of the memory of this person were brought to light. And I can't tell you what a difference that made for me. And I would want the same done for when I pass. I would want the same type of celebration, the same type of honoring and memory, because to me, it's not only helping the people that are there, but I have a belief that it's helpful to our spirit when we pass on. It's helpful to the energy of who we are.
Yeah. And the energy of everyone else is your energy too, isn't it? Because
right.
We're all connected. But I didn't tell you I had a granddaughter that died. So, and she was only 6 months. And I remember her mother was staying with us at the time. And she obviously came into my life for that short period of time to a gift of just having her, and then she's gone. And she was evolved enough in some part of her to see it in that way. Didn't take away the pain. She's never forgotten her. You know, it didn't take away the grief that comes with that loss, because it's an energy that leaves and shifts. And what I believe is we're kind of adjusting to that shift. You know how you get a pebble that you can chuck into a pond, a still pond, and you get these ripples that come out. Mm-hmm. My idea is that when someone leaves, or shall we say drops their body, or leaves the body, it's as if the pebble's been taken out, and it leaves a hole, and we need to kind of energetically adjust to that. And that's what all this kind of stuff goes on as well. So there's so much more to it, but it hasn't changed my fear of death, my own working through my own fear from that childhood. You know, that's still, you know, I've had a whole journey with that as well. I told you 4 months after my husband died, I wanted to do a craniosacral course in the States over there, which was around craniosacral therapy around death and dying. And it's something I've been interested in for a long time. It just felt the right time to go. And so when I was there 6 years ago, I was on the table, and I remember one of the therapists saying, okay, so what's your greatest loss? And I thought, really? My husband's just died 4 months ago. Am I really going to have to go there again already? But it didn't take me there, Veronica. It took me to the womb. And so my current understanding of my loss of death, which will make me teary every time, is in the womb. So and I felt the loss of where we came from into this body in some way, shape or form. I had a perception that I lost spirit in some way, which isn't true.
Right.
But that's the perception I got. I felt abandoned inside the womb. I hadn't even been born at that point. So
Wow.
it's on my radar.
That's incredible. As I'm a modern psychoanalyst, and one of the things that we really look at is the trauma or the experiences that happen in utero. So I'm thinking to myself that, oh my gosh, this was completely took you by surprise, but it also substantiates that we can have losses in so many different ways. I mean, to think that yours was in the womb, to me, that's incredible. Incredible.
And somehow I was born with joy and bundles, and then the feeling kicked back in because it doesn't go away. And so It's come through every part of my life since. And the recent epiphany for me, our understanding of this fear that I've carried for so long, is an understanding of how to overcome it. And this is my perception right now. So you talk to me in a year and I might have another one. But right now, it's the fear of living is the only way I'm going to overcome the fear of dying.
Right. Absolutely. What a great message that is. You also, I believe you had another significant loss.
My dog.
Oh, yes, that's right. That's what it was.
My dog. Yeah, because my dog, I wish I could show you a photograph of her. She's right next to me in the photograph. My dog, I had her from a young age. She was a boxer. Her name was Angel. She died when she was 13. And it was really important to me that I looked after her in the end, because she served me so well over the last 6 years as being a companion when I was struggling. And she was my baby. I'd had animals as a child, but she was my first animal, and the only energy left in the house with me. And it was really important that, and on the day that she went, and the timing was everything to me. It was so important that I didn't push it or force it. And she, there were 2 years previous, she could have gone. There was many times she could have gone. But no, it wasn't her time. On the day that she was preparing, she looked like a puppy. She was fluffy, she was hydrated, she was chilled. And I remember crying my eyes out as they were putting her to sleep. I love you, I will always love you, just go and find the light, blah, blah, blah. And then I felt, just before the nurses said she's gone, I felt these two puffs of energy go through my body here, and one was joy and one was peace, and I was crying, and I was like, what the hell? I could feel them, and then seconds afterwards they said she's gone, and I said, I know. So whether they were gifts for me or whether they were her energy going into me or through me, it doesn't matter. But that was lovely. That was really nice. So yeah, animals dying, that's another thing. That wonderful meal I had yesterday, that's another death gone. It's just, there's just so many. Every single moment is a change in a death, isn't it?
Do you think that because you practice cranial sacral, do you think that cranial sacral is a useful adjunct to healing?
100%. I do many different therapies. Over the years, I've trained as a naturopath. I did a lot of massaging, different body tissue work, and there's an acupuncturist and counselling stuff and all sorts of stuff. But craniosacral therapy which was introduced to another client of mine that died, another amazing woman. But anyway, basically, it's the only therapy that I work with that I have no idea what's going to happen. I have no idea where it's going to go because it's evolved out of the client. So it's a really gentle touch. And because it's gentle, you're working with the level of intention. So the lighter the touch, my understanding is the deeper you can go into the body. Because as soon as you touch the body, you react. You know, your body responds to that touch. If you touch somebody with a gentle touch that just says, I'm here, I'm listening, I'm not judging you, what do you want to do? The body goes, oh, wow, well, I want to do this, I want to do that. And it could be on a physical level, it could be on an emotional level, it could be on a spiritual level. Because you're holding space. It's energy, it's tissue work, it's all in one. But it's given the client in a way of, what do you want to do? Where are you right now? What's going on in your body? And the less you do, the more happens for the client.
What type of healing have you seen occur from utilizing craniosacral?
Oh my gosh. Physical structure changes, massive emotional shifts. I really love the somato-emotional release work, which is the emotional stuff, because I love working with emotions. I can tolerate emotions very well, and I'm very comfortable with people getting completely upset, and that's because I can get upset at the drop of a hat. So. So I support people to really find what it means to them. Who are you? Where is your self, your magical truth? And from that understanding that place, they can better observe the conditioned mind, the pain body. You know, Eckhart Tolle talks about the pain body.
Right. Yeah.
The business. And we all experience it, we all are it, but we might all have our own perceptions of what that means to us, how we actually experience it currently.
Right.
So craniosacral therapy can help massive shifts, but really going through the tissues as well. You know, and then migraines, stomach issues. I mean, sky's the limit, really. So it's quite hard to pin it down. So you work with the central nervous system, you work with the craniosacral rhythm of the body, which is a separate rhythm to the heart and the breathing. It's the production of spinal fluid.
Right.
And that's a sacred fluid because it's the first fluid that and rhythm that comes into the body when we're in utero, my understanding is. And it's the last one to leave the body.
Wow.
So heart and breathing go, and then this craniosacral rhythm. So you can work with people who are really sick because you can communicate through the rhythm as well. So, you know, like when you have a dinner party or you're with friends and you're chatting away and someone says something and you feel like, oh my God, someone's dropped a clanger. Someone said something and the whole room goes quiet. You can guarantee that everyone's craniosacral rhythms have just stopped for a moment.
Wow.
So it's that energy change, and it's palpable. You can feel it.
Thank you. I appreciate you explaining that because I have had craniosacral. I'm considering doing it more and more frequently because I have heard some amazing stories surrounding healing with craniosacral and the spinal fluid, but I just don't really understand it completely. But I love the way you described it. I appreciate that. So, Suzanne, is there anything that you would like to expound upon before we end our wonderful interview today? It's been such a pleasure having you.
Yeah, it's been a real pleasure to talk about stuff. Yeah, just that, you know, we're all human, and even now, you know, I'm constantly learning, constantly trying to understand myself. And I just want to live in a place where, you know, heaven on earth, you know, where we are all living from here and being here. And change and deaths and losses and all those perceived losses that we have. I've lost my joy, I've lost my fun, I've lost my purpose in life. You know, they're all part of the same package deal. And you can, in it or after, find a place where you can go, right, what can I learn out of that? What gifts are there in that for me? You know, what have I received that I can take forward in a positive way? And it's great that you're doing, you know, that kind of work too. And I just think it's essential. And I don't, come on, people, talk about it. Why are we talking about it? So I'm just really, really grateful to be on here today to speak with someone that so openly and lovingly talks about it. I've been watching, you know, pretty much most of your workshop, catching it when I can. It's great. And
Thank you.
Great that you're someone else out there just in your own way. You know, let's honor each individual soul here and do it together, you know, talk and share.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. That's great. I love your I love the joy in you. I love that you can bring that out and you can express it. And I love how you can combine joy with spirituality. And in every area of your life, you seem to be weaving it in because you're a very joyful person.
I'm a joyful person when I connect, but don't get me wrong. I'm sitting here now. I'm nervous. I'm sweating. I've got a pain in my solar plexus because of a deep thing that was going on for me this morning, and I'm still working through it. You know, people say, yeah, but you look so calm and you look so together. But I'm human. That's why I know the pain, because I can feel it.
Yes, we have been. I understand that. I don't understand all the ramifications that happen, but I understand pain as well. Unbelievable. So we've all been through something, it seems like, but how we recover is sometimes so unique unto us, like as individuals, and each loss seems to bring up a different method or a different way of having us heal too, you know?
Yeah, different layer, different aspects.
Yes.
New. And you could lose somebody, the same person 20 years ago, or you could lose them tomorrow, and you might react differently because you're in a different time of your life.
Right, exactly.
Going on in your life. There's different, you know, so because I've had that, someone who partner has died, and then another partner that they had died, and they reacted differently. And they said, I thought I know how I would react because of how I reacted before. I said, yeah, but you're 30 years older, and it's a different time of your life, and it was a different person, and so it's okay, you know, there's no rules here. We keep giving ourselves rules, and it should be this and it should be that. There's no rule. There's no rules.
Okay. Sky's the limit when it comes to feelings and when it comes to the heart.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Suzanne. It's been wonderful having you here, and it was lovely.
It's been a real pleasure to be on. Thank you so much for
You're more than welcome. And all you have to do is click end broadcast, and you'll be off. So, hey, if anybody has any thoughts or messages or anything you want to pass on to Suzanne, you can put it in the comments below, and I'll be sure that Suzanne has access to that.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye. Okay, I guess I can click end broadcast, right? Can I click end broadcast and I'll be out of there?
Yeah, if you want to end the live, then you click end broadcast.
Well, I want to continue with the live Facebook.
Yeah, so if she is off, then you can just keep talking to the audience.
Okay, great. Okay, everybody. So still here. And I'm just wondering how everybody enjoyed that. Suzanne is lovely. She's got a lot to offer. And I love the dynamic way that she embraces the whole idea surrounding loss. In this case, we were talking predominantly about physical loss, but I could say that that's true with any loss whatsoever. And, sometimes, we need help to navigate that. And that's okay. That's all right. As a matter of fact, with my experience with working with groups for many, many years, is that, as I have said, it's a healing dynamic. And if we're with the right people that really get us and really understand, and not just understand, but can feel and provide us with the level of nurturing and support that we need, we can traverse anything, really we can, because it is the relationships that wound us, but ultimately it's the relationships that we have around us that heal us. And so you want to have that dynamic relationships as well around you. You want to make your friends privy to who you are. And part of it is by really being able to share the deeper parts of yourself that can bring one closer to you. Because the more we share of ourselves in a safe environment or with people that we know will hear us and will love us no matter what, because we all have warts, where none of us are perfect, but we have to take into consideration the whole thing, like, who are we and why are we here? And those big questions. But the deeper thing that I really am focusing on here is healing. And it's healing our wounded child. It's healing that part of us that wants to pull us down. And, that wounded child really is just trying to protect you. That wounded child just really wants you to do better. And in that child's mind, doing better means not changing, means not moving forward. And if you do move forward, it's only in a way that they can handle, that they believe is the right way. But it's like I have been talking about all these, now it's the seventh day, right? It's like a little 5-year-old trying to drive the bus, and the 5-year-old really can't see over the steering wheel. And if you're having your 5-year-old driving you, can you imagine the kind of decisions that you've probably made or are making or have made that might be a little different if you were in your wise, loving adult, right? So that's what my healing community is about, is really connecting with our wise, loving adults, with really comforting our wounded child and helping the two really to come together and support each other. And, there is nothing like feeling whole, feeling like you're a whole person, like you don't have to compartmentalize your feelings, because you know that you're in with a community of people and with hearts that are willing to love and willing to give. And where do you find that? It's really hard to find that, as an individual. And I have cultivated this program specifically for the healing purposes that it can provide. And, a lot of this is my education, my skill. Yes, that's very predominant. But what that did was honed all the skills and honed all of the internal elements of things about me, my spiritual element, all of my healing situations that I've been through. And I could take it and I could put it together to help others heal. And I believe in the ability of spirit, the soul, and our bodies, minds to heal. We can do that. And our bodies and our minds, our hearts are incredible healers. So we just have to find the right place to be able to step into that. So if you're considering joining my group and my program, and you want to talk a little bit more about it, you want to ask a couple of questions, you might want to see if there's something further that you need to know, you can go on to the page that was put in your messenger. If it's not in your messenger, it's on the main Sacred Alchemy After Loss, and it's on there as well. And you could schedule could come up for you if you click on Discovery Call. So if you just want to forego that and you just want to message me in Messenger, you could certainly do that as well. And I'm hoping that you did the homework, because the homework was a vital part of my teaching, because the homework further embedded all of these different aspects of us that I really wanted to bring out, the different aspects to what helps to create wholeness and health in our lives. And, to work through all of these bugaboos that we have, those are some beginning steps. So tomorrow we are going to be meeting here at the same time, 3 p.m. Eastern, for roughly an hour. And we're going to be bringing Lynn Schuster on board. And Lynn Schuster is she's an incredible pet psychic medium. And she has amazing stories of the healing of pets, the healing of humans and their pets, and the different things that she has discovered through working with people that had difficulty with some of their pets and wanted to go further into understanding what they could do, how she does this, how the pets react, how does she know that it's the pet responding, where does she get her messages from? There are all these wonderful things, and we can definitely go into all of those, but you might want to save your questions, okay? So it's been great having you here today. Remember, Tuesday is the final day for all of the videos, including these interviews, are posted in the units section. And the huge discount that is happening during this whole 7-day, actually 9-day session will be ending at Tuesday at midnight, and then we'll go back to regular pricing. So if you're really considering working with me, then I strongly suggest that you connect with me and we can take that further. All right. Thank you so much. Have a good day, the rest of it, and hopefully I will be seeing you tomorrow, or you can listen to the playback. All right. Take good care. Bye-bye now.